with me again. Oh, and her little head's just going. Whoops, she's not on YouTube. We gotta get her over here on YouTube too. Center of attention right here. Good morning, everybody. We got some bright lights going this morning, and so it's a little distracting when we're just getting our eyes focused, you know. Love this stage with little Brinley. She's discovering her tongue, so you'll see some tongue action this morning, and she's really focusing her eyes and where she can really see things, and she just got fed, so she's kind of in love with the mama right now because that milk was so good. So thank you, Mom. Oh, Mom, you just made my whole world right. Hi, Donna. How are you? Aunt Isla. I love when you come on with us, Aunt Isla. I love you. I miss you. So this is Brooke's baby. Brooke is part of our team here at Inman Financial and the president of Dream Big Marketing. And power producer of beautiful baby girls. Got two of the most beautiful baby girls you ever did see. Look at that. She's looking at her mama.
She's wanting mom.
She's not wanting mom. I don't know what you're talking about. She loves her and she's thanking her for the milk, but she's quite content being with Elizabeth.
Thank you.
Okay, ready? Ready? Thank you, Mom.
Oh.
Say, oh, you messed up my stupor, Elizabeth. Thanks, guys. Kim's on. Can't wait to see you, Donna. Donna says, hey, Brooke.
Oh, hi, Donna Wick.
Got Marissa here, and David's here, and my daughter, Carrie Dawn, is here, and we're just having a glorious, relaxed, fabulous Friday, getting ready to talk about today's Bible study, and so excited. We kind of jumped the gun just a little bit and got to talking about today's reading, so I'm going to move the camera around, and you going to, okay,
yeah,
I'll trade.
I know it'd be easier.
That'll be great. So,
Good morning.
Here, Miss Brooke has little Brayley at home that's two.
Yes,
not
2.5.
2.5. And then 9 weeks ago, 10 weeks ago, how old is Miss
Brinley is just now 2 months.
Okay, just now 2 months. So 2 months ago, she blessed us with this little girl. And so the scriptures really spoke to her this morning. So she's got a real brief little summary of what she's going to go home and write down in her Bible. I'm just saying. Now, honestly, guys, today is a picture of what happened. So I stopped doing, we took a break from our morning Bible studies here at Inman Financial. Just a lot of scheduling stuff was going on, and I've done that before in the summertime's taken a break from it. So I just stopped it a couple of weeks ago, and I'm doing mostly recorded videos now, not doing too many lives. And you know that you got the right people when there is no so-called requirement. Now, understand, there's never been a requirement for Bible study in my business, but everybody has the option to join us in Bible study. But you stop the formal part of the Bible study, and nobody stops reading. They keep reading the daily Bible. You know that you know. There's my Uncle Keith. Brinley, that's my Uncle Keith. This is Brooke's baby, Keith, here in the office.
Yes.
So anyway, you know, because the reason we read is our heart. It's not because the boss says, it's not because, well, I feel obligated. It's because you almost can't stand it anymore if you're not reading and getting that little tidbit for the day. So, hi, Sandra. So happy you're on. I love live, you guys. Gary, thanks for coming back again. Anyway, we read because it's a heart issue. It's I want to know him. And you know what? It's hard today to live that overcoming life. And I say an overcoming life because it doesn't matter. I mean, you know what? This young lady didn't do anything the day she went in for a checkup, and they said, well, you're going to have to be careful. We're going to want to make this high risk because we've got placenta previa going on. And she didn't do anything. I mean, she was just enjoying her pregnancy, having a great pregnancy, and then boom, there's that so-called diagnosis they want to put on her. And so she knows enough and does enough and has read enough, and she said, oh no, no, I'll be careful, I'm not going to be silly, but I'm not accepting that.
Right.
And it's because of what we learn when we read. Hi Judith, glad to have you. It's why we read, and then it's well, okay, so you know, when you're here with her every day, you could see fear, the days when fear would try to set itself on her, and coming together in this environment, and then coming to a Bible study, and then she'd get a word in the Word, like she did today. She got a word today. God spoke directly to this young woman in today's Bible study, and she's going to share it with you. And that's why we read. I mean, what does it take? 15 minutes, 20 minutes to read? The reading this morning was kind of short. This morning, if you just read it as a historical text and you're just reading words on a paper, it's a little dry. And then God speaks. And when God speaks, you get a word for your life or a word for your children's life. Brooke this morning got a word not just for her life that's going to govern her life. So Braylee is 2.5. So for the next 16 years for her daughters, 18 years for this little girl. This word will come back and is going to help Brooke for the next 18 years. It's going to help her as a mother in decisions she makes and what looks like's going on, and it's going to help these babies because this is going to frame what this woman speaks to her babies for the next 18 years. So with that, I'm going to turn it over. I'll scoot over.
She's made me so nervous. This was not prepared. So I always listen to the word on the way to work as well because it just helps me whenever I can drive and just kind of listen.
Now, how do you do that? Tell somebody, because I had somebody ask me the other day, how do you listen to it as well as just read it?
The daily Bible study on just the internet, whenever you just type in daily Bible study, you can actually find the day, and whenever you see a triangle, you just hit that and it'll play that whole series for you.
So the U version that I read every day has that. Oh, she's talking to her mama.
Hi.
So it has that play button on it. So most of the daily, and this is the 1 year daily Bible reading plan that we use, and it has the capability that you can actually listen and not just read. So she's talking about driving to work and she listens to the Bible.
Okay. And I'll take a picture of it, a snapshot, and I'll put it in the comments so that way, and if any of y'all have questions, just PM us and I'll send it to you. But you know, every single time we talk about young kings, you know, they're always the ones that seem to always do right in the Lord's vision, in Lord's mind. So this morning, you know, as I'm listening, it was so profound that, again, a little 8-year-old does exactly what the Lord wanted. And so I just came in and I told Elizabeth, what we do and what we feed these kids at a very young age, good morning, is so important that we're either feeding them life or death, literally. And so he was filled in the Lord's Spirit, and he did exactly what was right to the Lord. And all these kings that, you know, were of age that you feel like, oh, well, they can lead this kingdom and they're going to do what's right. You know, the kingdom was falling. And at the age of 12, he turned around and 12, can you imagine? That's 6th grade, guys. You know, if you're a teacher, you know how 6th graders can be, just to get them to listen. And here he is doing what the Lord wanted. I mean, he was destroying things that weren't of the Lord. And then you have men who weren't at that time. And so to me, you know, just to make sure that that my kids know that they will change the world no matter what age they're in. So whether they're 5, 6, 20, doesn't matter. If you always have a childlike heart, which is talked about multiple times in the Bible, that the Lord will always use you. So, no matter what age you are, when you are completely reborn through Christ, I feel as if you're going to have a mind of a young Christian, which is a blessing at the very beginning. So, every single thing you do is going to be completely renewed. So,
cool, thank you.
Pretty much, it was a little bit better this morning, guys. I'm not really good at retelling a story.
Impromptu when she first come in and said, "Oh my gosh, this really spoke to me." And so, anyway, here it is, King Josiah, being so young, 8 years old when he became king. You know that what he did was because of the people, and we talked about this before, about 2 or 3 weeks ago. We had one, I think, that became king at 6. Mm-hmm. And we talked about how he did what his mama said, and there was a priest assigned to him at that point in time. And his decisions that he made as king was based on the people around him that was speaking into it. And Brooke got that this morning. Oh my gosh, an 8-year-old. And at 12, he made the decisions to get rid of everything that was not God. That had to be because of what was being spoken into him. And she said she knew that what she spoke into her babies was going to be so important based on what she read this morning. I mean, that's how we make this relevant for our life today. Life today. Every single day, August the 3rd, 2018 in the daily Bible study. So I appreciate you sharing impromptu. She hadn't planned on that, but what a powerful way of understanding how this can apply to our life today. The other thing that keeps hitting me over and over again as I'm reading this year, and this is my first year that I can recall having these thoughts, but we're reading in Chronicles, so in the Kings and the Chronicles, they wrote down all of these things about what the kings did, the life of these people. And sometimes it's about the kings, sometimes it's about the prophets, sometimes it's about a lady named, the prophet named Huldah. Huldah was in today's reading. Sometimes it's about a runner, sometimes it's about, and they write it down, here we are, how many tens of thousands of years later is it that these words are written down and they're impacting us today? And so it's easy for us to think that, oh, my life doesn't matter. Nothing I do is leaving a legacy. My kids won't even remember me when I'm gone. You know what? And Kim here in our office, here at this place, Kim's on with us. Kim Spence, you see her on the screen speaking into us. Has a mama, her grandma is 103 years old, and she has passed on a devotional to Kim. So passed on from grandmother to mother to granddaughter now, and occasionally she brings it into me, and she says, "Oh, Elizabeth, look at this," and there in Mama's handwriting are words that she's written out. So, just like what I've got here, I tell you guys all the time, I wrote in the column. To be real honest with you guys, I'm one of those people that would think, you know what, my kids aren't even going to remember me. I'll be a passing memory for a while, and my grandkids, But here's the deal. We're reading stories from ordinary people and their life that was tens of thousands of years ago, and it's still impacting. I mean, how many of us read the books by Tozer? I have a book, the inner depths of Jesus Christ, that was written, can't remember her name, Kim would know, that was written in 1865, that has been one of the most all-time life-altering books I've read yet. You never know. You never know. Our life is meant to leave a legacy. Now, we've talked about some of the extremes. We write a book, A.W. Tozer has written a book, and we're still reading it. How many decades later we're still reading his book long after his death? The Bible, of course. You can name the Iliad, has been around for centuries. We write a book, or there's a video that goes viral 100 years after our death or something. We can all think of those kind of things, but I want you to think about you right now, today. And let's just take Brooke as an example. She was bold enough to let me put her on camera impromptu, and she's just had these 2 babies. What kind of a legacy is she going to leave? You know, I know she's okay with me just talking bluntly, but her and Brandon are making a living and taking care of their babies, but they're not rich. They don't have millions of dollars that they're going to start a foundation yet. To help the homeless, or they're just, you know what, they get up every day, they go to work, they take care of the kids, they go home, they work, and they put the kids to bed. How easy for us to look at our lives, and I want you to think about your life. Jean Guyon, yes, thank you, Kim's the name of is the author of that book. How easy is it for us to think, you know what, nothing I do makes a difference. Nothing I do makes a difference. But here is the deal. She got revelation knowledge today that somebody had to be speaking into King Josiah at 8 years old to lead him to the place that his belief system was so strong at age 12 that he destroyed the idols in the country. So she's feeding in, Brandon is feeding into these babies, and these babies will have babies, that'll have babies, that'll have babies. We all leave a legacy. How quick are we to talk about generational curses? We'll talk about generational curses. We'll talk about, oh, well, alcoholism's ran in my family back for the 12th generation back. But how many of us talk about the legacy of the praying mamas, of the praying daddies, of the hard-working dads that get up every single day and go to work and make a living for their family? That's a legacy. Don't think you don't make a difference in the kingdom of God. Everything you do is important. Our tears are so important to God that he collects them in a bottle and he writes every one of them down in a book. Do not think what you're doing doesn't make a difference for the kingdom. I want to read in Romans 16 as I close. And now I make one more appeal, dear brothers and sisters. So Paul's writing this. We are closing out a powerful book called Romans. I think today's our last day to be reading. It is. Last day to be reading in Romans. So this is closing out this book. And now I make one more appeal, my dear brothers and sisters. Watch out for people who cause divisions and upsets. Not only do we watch out for them, more importantly, we watch out that we're not them. Watch out for people who cause divisions and upsets. You know, just because I come in and, you know what, my hormones are raging and I'm just, yesterday, quite honestly, I'll tell you, yesterday was one of those days for me. I could have slapped somebody real easy yesterday. I was just struggling. I mean, it was like everything was fingers going down a chalkboard for me yesterday. But see, I'm grounded enough in the Lord to know that it wasn't any one person at all. I mean, the old Elizabeth would have come in yesterday, and my schedule got changed early in the morning yesterday. And it was, when the schedule gets changed, it's a domino effect for the rest of the day. These girls saw it. They saw me. Hopefully not really bad. I don't think I spoke anything, but I was praying. And see, I'm grounded enough now to know when that happens and I'm feeling what I'm feeling, I start praying. And as I did that, God showed me that there was something physically it was probably hormones. I mean, I don't know. And I was able to come against it and say, no, I'm not going to live my life that way. The old Elizabeth would have come in, and because the schedule got changed and it's a domino effect for everything else for the day, and it was important. It was all about Carrie's school. It was, I mean, very important. It was outside of my control. And I would have then focused on the first thing somebody said something crooked to me. Now, all of this would have been subconscious. I wouldn't have done it on purpose. But you know, Brooke could have come in and looked at me crosswise, or I thought she looked at me crosswise, and then the next thing you know, all the rest of the day, I'd be ticked off at Brooke. I've never been an ugly person as far as being mean, but it was one of those days. You know what I mean? And so when we get grounded in the Word, we find out that we can rise above that. And we don't have to live that way. And so just because I come in and I think Brooke looked at me funny today, I don't have to run over to Larissa and say, Larissa, what's wrong with Brooke? what's wrong with her? David, what's going on with Brooke this morning? Or,
Mm-hmm.
you know what? Young Elizabeth, guilty. All of us, guilty. You're not going to tell me. Yeah, all of us guilty. And it says, watch out for people who cause divisions and upset. You know what? A temporary thing of a day that physically I'm off just a little bit. I'm not sick, I'm not hurting, I don't have pain. I'm just off a little bit. And because I thought Brooke looked at me funny, I come running over to Larissa and I start talking to Larissa, and I've planted a seed inside of Larissa that she now doubts Brooke for the rest of the time they work here together. I caused a division on something that was temporary that had nothing to do with anything. And you read these then, and it's watch out for people who cause divisions. So my first thought is, who in my life would like to divide and conquer? And then it's, oh Lord, is that me? And that's what we do with these scriptures. If we're not making these scriptures about us, if every time I read these all I think is about everybody else, then I'm not really into the spiritual realm of where this book's going to speak to me very deeply. So watch out for people who cause divisions and upset people's faith by teaching things contrary to what you've been taught. Little Josiah, if he'd have been taught that Baal was the god of the day, he probably would have grown up worshiping Baal. But little King Josiah at 8, already at 8, knew who the real God was because of his mother, because of his father, because of the people around him. So such people are not serving Christ our Lord. They are serving their own personal interests. Every year that we read this, this is our check for me to say, Lord, where am I serving my own personal interests? Show me, Lord. Show me. And he will. He'll show you. By smooth talk and glowing words, they deceive innocent people. Oh, Lord, don't let it be me. Stop me, Lord. Stop me, Lord. Proverbs, I'll end with that. A gossip goes around telling secrets, so don't hang around with chatterers. That'll, everyone in this house, that ought to be preaching to. I'm just saying, and me being the chief one.
God of peace.
Love y'all. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. We'll talk tomorrow.